Look, we need to talk about what just happened. Because this wasn't just another week in AI, this was the week the entire landscape fundamentally shifted. And it all starts with this number. Gartner is projecting, get this, by 2026, global spending on AI is going to hit $2.5 trillion. To give you some perspective, that's more than the entire GDP of Canada. And it's growing at an insane rate, 44% every single year.
But here's the thing, this isn't just about throwing money around. What that spending is really fueling is this totally chaotic three-way collision. You've got these incredibly smart AI agents, a brutal arms race for hardware, and of course, the law, all just smashing into each other at full speed.
And right in the middle of all that chaos, a brand new job category is being born. I'm talking about a role that is going to be absolutely essential for pretty much every company out there. We're going to break down what's happening, and stick with me, because at the end of all this, I'm going to reveal exactly what that job is.
Okay, so first up, breakthroughs meet backlash. We have to get to the heart of the conflict here. Every time there's a huge breakthrough, it's immediately met with some kind of real-world backlash. This is where all the friction is happening.
Okay, take Anthropic's new model, Claude Opus 4.6. This thing is a huge leap forward. For starters, it has a 1 million token context window in beta. Now, think of that like the AI's short-term memory. You could literally feed it the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy and it would remember every single little detail. And it can also deploy what they call agent teams, so multiple AIs working together in parallel. And it uses this context compaction to constantly summarize what it's learned so it never loses the plot.
And this is the crucial point, right? This isn't just about making the AI bigger for the sake of it. These features are a direct attack on AI's most annoying, frustrating problems, especially for businesses. They're trying to kill what people call context rot, where an AI just completely forgets what it was doing halfway through a task, and they're trying to make complex, multi-step planning something you can actually rely on.
And it's not just text. At the exact same time, generative video just took this massive step forward with ByteDance's Cdance 2.0. They're positioning this as an industrial-grade tool. So it can generate audio and video together. You can give it a bunch of different inputs like text, images, audio to guide it, and it has some really advanced editing tools. What this really does is solve the creative director problem. How do you keep a character or a style totally consistent from one shot to the next? And then, almost immediately, bam, the backlash. Hollywood groups, major studios, they all came out swinging. They publicly attacked the tool, saying it enables, and this is a quote, massive scale infringement and the misuse of an actor's likeness and IP. I mean, this is the perfect illustration of what I'm talking about. The technical capability and the social permission to use it are on a total collision course. So this tension is forcing the world's biggest companies to place these enormous and sometimes totally contradictory bets on what the future's going to look like. We're talking billions of dollars on the line to try and win the next decade. And all of this just fuels the hardware arms race. But what's fascinating is you see two completely different philosophies clashing. So on one side, you have Nvidia and Meta basically building a private fortress. It's this multi-year partnership for millions of GPUs and all-in-one integrated platform. But then on the other side, you've got Google and India treating AI like a public utility. They're dropping 15 times billion dollars on infrastructure and training to build out a national-scale ecosystem. It's basically a battle between the walled garden and the public square.
And then there's Apple. They're already looking past the iPhone. New reports show they're hitting the accelerator on a whole new category of AI wearables. We're talking smart glasses, some kind of pendant you wear, and even AirPods with cameras baked right in. And the strategy here is pretty obvious, right? The goal is to feed a constant stream of visual context into an AI that's always with you, always aware of what you're seeing. The potential payoff is incredible, but the risk? The risk is a privacy and social backlash on a scale we have never, ever seen before. And just when you think it couldn't get more complicated, the regulators are stepping in. I mean, Tesla was just forced by the California DMV to stop using the word autopilot in their marketing. This is a huge signal. It means regulators aren't just looking at the tech's safety anymore. They're now going after how this advanced AI stuff is being sold to you and me. So, wow, this all feels incredibly complex, just chaotic. The big question has to be, where is all this heading? Is there any way to actually make sense of this mess? Well, yes, there is. We can actually boil down all of this noise into 5 key trends.
These are the underlying forces that are shaping every single thing we've just talked about. And you'll see these 5 forces are all connected. It really starts with agentic AI finally becoming a real product you can buy. That creates this incredible demand, which leads to trend 2, compute as the ultimate bottleneck. Then, as these powerful agents start creating more and more content, you get trend 3, video triggers massive copyright wars. The need to feed these agents more data leads us to trend 4, wearables and the fight over ambient privacy. And then, looking even further down the road, you see trend 5, quantum's shift from just a science experiment to a real industrial concern. Okay, so let's focus in on that first and most important trend, agentic AI, because this is the one that directly explains that secret job I mentioned at the very beginning. So what is it? What is this new, absolutely essential corporate role being created by this big shift to agentic AI? It's called AI operations, or AIOps for short. You see, as companies start deploying not just one AI, but teams of AI agents, they're going to need a whole new department to manage them. This team will handle things like permissions, logging what the AIs are doing, evaluating their performance, and figuring out what to do when things inevitably go wrong. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like DevOps, which popped up to manage all the complex software we deploy today. This is the exact same idea, but for AI. And the mandate for an AIOps team is absolutely critical. They're the ones who will govern how multiple AI agents work together. They'll manage their memory and context. They'll audit what tools they're using and how much it's costing the company. And maybe most importantly, they'll implement those human-in-the-loop checkpoints and make sure you can always trace back what an AI did and roll it back if you have to. So what about those other 4 trends? Well, they're just as important. The compute bottleneck? That means the winners of the future might not be software companies, but the ones who control power grids and supply chains. The whole video and copyright war? Expect a ton of lawsuits and a lot more default deny guardrails built into new models. AI wearables? They're going to create a whole new ecosystem of apps built on visual context, but every single one will have to pass a massive privacy test. And finally, that quantum shift? It just shows that even the most futuristic tech is now all about building a real industrial supply chain. So here's the key takeaway. These 5 trends, they give us a map. We can finally see a direct line from that mind-boggling $2.5 trillion arms race through all the chaos and backlash, leading straight to the creation of this brand new job category. And that brings us to our question of the day. Looking at this list, you've got agentic AI, the compute bottleneck, the video copyright wars, AI wearables, and the quantum shift. Which one of these 5 trends do you personally think will have the biggest impact on your life or maybe your industry in the next 2 years? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think.